Welcome to Inside Ag. I'm your guest host, Brandi Buzzard, and don't turn the dial. You are in the right place, I promise. I'm guest hosting today on the Kansas Farm Bureau Inside Ag podcast, and I'm excited to talk today with Austin and Crystal Moore from Buzzard County, and we're going to talk all about the upcoming Young Farmers and Ranchers Leadership Conference. So welcome to the podcast, Austin and Crystal. We're so excited to have you here. Just to bring our guests up to speed, for someone who may not know who you guys are, have worked with you in the past, could you just give us a little bit of background about yourselves?
My name's Austin Moore. I went to Southern Coffee County High School in Coffee County, Kansas. This is my wife, Crystal.
Yes. I went to Anderson County.
And we pretty much just live on the farm here in northern Woodson County, and work for my family most of the time, between farming and hauling propane, things like that. So.
Okay. And so you guys are on, so everybody knows, you guys are on the Young Farmers and Ranchers Leadership Conference Planning Committee. So you're helping plan this coming event that's happening in January, secure speakers, talk about ideas and things like that. So what drew you to the Young Farmers and Ranchers program?
Well, so Austin has been on the Woodson County Farm Bureau board for a few years now, and I've never really been involved in Farm Bureau, but it was definitely one of those things. Tim Tyson was like, hey, I'd really like to nominate you guys. So we ended up being District 3 on the committee. And so after going through a couple conferences and stuff, I'm like, it's really nice being able to go and talk to people that is in the same category category you're in.
Right. And so what you're talking about the district that you're in, but you're also in Woodson County. Are there specific county events that happen for YF&R in your area?
No, not really county events. We have district events.
Okay. And what are some of those district events? Are you helping plan those? Like, what are they? Just,
we're hopefully going to get something done here. Towards later part of fall or next year. Also, we'll be hopefully have another one then too. So,
what are the events? Are they farm tours? Are they socials?
Be some farm tours. Maybe go to some facilities like manufacturing facilities, ag manufacturing facilities, or just some stuff like that, and then try to do something fun as well. So.
Okay, cool. So what would you say is your favorite part, both yours, Austin, and Crystal's, your favorite part of the YF&R so far, since you've been involved, what keeps you wanting to stay involved?
I would say on my perspective is the friends we've already developed. Like, I probably snap most of them every day. So it's been really nice being able on the same level, chit-chatting, be like, hey, what are you guys doing today? So that's probably been the best and most enjoyable to go throughout my day, is keeping up with them, meeting new people all in Kansas and seeing what they do versus what we do. And so that's what probably my favorite thing is.
Great. Austin, what about you?
I'd say just meeting new people from all over the state. There's really a lot of difference in the farming practices between here and Western Kansas in a lot of ways, and irrigation. We don't have hardly any irrigation here in our area, and so it's just interesting to learn a lot of different things and how things are done differently. So
yeah, I think you're kind of touching there on an important aspect of Kansas agriculture. So the eastern side of Kansas, which I also live in Southeast Kansas, I don't live super far from you all in Woodson County. I'm in Anderson County, and for our listeners who are not aware of those are not far apart. I think there's like only one county between them. I can be in Woodson County in like 55 minutes or something like that, maybe an hour.
Yes.
But Kansas agriculture from the east part of the state to the western part, like, I don't think a lot of people realize like how big Kansas is. And there's such a huge difference in agriculture on the western end and the eastern end. Yes, there are farmers in western Kansas that are growing corn and wheat and like raising cattle and the same kind of things, but raising them in the western part of the state is so different. The way it happens and the precipitation and the management that in the eastern part of the state. And I think that's just really important, that if you're not involved in a program like this that exposes you to those different kinds of agriculture and different people, like, you really would know, right? Like, if you compare Kansas to Iowa, like, Iowa's a smaller state. So the climate is a little bit more like consistent throughout, it's the same. So it's really interesting to hear that that's you guys' perspective, that you're learning that across this state. So while you're on the YF&R planning committee, like what have been some of the benefits that you guys have had with being involved in the planning, or on the contrary, what are some of the headaches of being in that role?
So this is we're probably more on the headache side because neither one of us are big planners. We are definitely go with the flow. So it's been a struggle to be like, okay, you are need the one to decide on who the speakers are, what kind of sessions we're going to have. So it's definitely opened our eyes to be like, okay, we can do this. So it's, yes, I definitely feel like I've learned a lot. But no, we're pretty lucky with we get along with everyone in our district because there's 10 districts in the state of Kansas. And so it's really nice being able to be on the same level and then getting to decide and plan everything with 10 different ideas, really, or even 20. I mean, since we're all couples. And so it's definitely an eye opener.
There's just a lot of I don't know, a lot of pressure on it, I feel like. So
because you want to attract as many people and have all these farmers to stop what they're doing and come and enjoy a nice conference. And so it's one of those things like, well, what would we want to do to go to get us to go out there? But
yeah, that's a good point though, because I feel like every agriculture conference anywhere runs into the same thing, right? Like, when is the best time to have this? So
yes,
in like late January, February, you run into calving with some people. Like my husband and I, we don't calve in the winter, but we do, we're feeding cattle every day. So like that's difficult. Whereas if you're having fall conferences and you're running into people with harvest, if you're doing spring, you got people planting. If you're doing June or July, you got people maybe haying, or late July chopping silage. So I'm sure there's just so much struggle with selecting a date, which I know that the YF&R Leaders Conference is pretty much the same weekend every year. But
yes,
you're right. You want to make sure that your agenda and the speaker lineup and the educational things, you've got to make those catchy enough to get people, off the farm or the ranch, because everybody is busy and time is probably your most limited asset. And so getting people to share that time, I'm sure is a really big challenge. For people who have never attended a YF&R leadership conference, like what should people expect? What are some of your favorite things from past conferences that you've attended?
So we are definitely one of the rare on our committee, is because last year was our very first time ever attending a YF&R event. It was a huge eye opener. I did not know what to expect. I didn't even know what to wear, because I'm like, that's not really what we ever do. And so there was a lot. It was great being able to talk to everybody. Whenever we were our opening session part, that was fun.
our opening session, and then we kind of got there early to help out, get things ready and stuff. Met a bunch of people. That was the first time we'd met a bunch of them. And I don't know, I think just the best thing is a lot of the clinics and getting to go on the tours.
The tours were
The
good.
speakers are good. They're just getting to blend and meet a bunch of people from your district. Even like last year, we met people from Girard that we'd never met, only about an hour and a half away.
Yeah.
And it was just nice to meet people that around our age and got the same things going on, family, kids, and work. So
yeah, I remember the last time that I went to the YF&R conference, which would have been, I believe, this coming is 2025. I believe 2023 maybe. And I was just so impressed with the workshops and how applicable they were to so many people. Like sometimes I go to conferences and I'm like, I want to be here for the keynote speaker, but none of the rest of the stuff really applies to me. And I felt like I've been to the YF&R conference twice, and I feel like every time I've gone, I've just thought, wow, like you could tell a lot of work went into making sure that there was something for everyone. And not every conference is like that. And I've really appreciated it about YF&R.
Yeah, that is one nice part is we do have something that's for your cattle people and you have some for your row crop people. And then, I mean, we went as far as they had like a social media one just last year. And that was really interesting. I mean, just learning how to make a reel and that kind of
Yeah.
stuff. I mean, because what our world's adapting to is everything's on social media. That's the only way you're going to get all of your farm and what you like what pertains to it out there.
Yeah, it's a lot of our advertisement comes from.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, social media started out, I remember I got I got Facebook in 2006 when you had to have a university, an approved university email address. So I applied to Kansas State University just so I could get the email address to get to Facebook, even though I didn't really intend on going to K-State at the time. And it's so different what it is now, you know, from what it was like 18 years ago. So, but it's become, instead of this niche thing, it's become like a major piece of advertising and business and strategy. So, well, I'm great. It's great. As a social media like enthusiast, I'm glad to hear that that was at that conference.
Yes.
So for this year's conference, I know that you guys on the committee are still working on finalizing some of those bigger pieces like keynote speakers, but is there something that you are looking forward to that's been decided already, maybe, or like some educational workshops or panels or anything like that?
We've only have a few workshops, I think, set in stone where we've already talked to, like, yep, they're a go. And that is and we have a few tours that are set in stone. We're going to have where the financial institution, we're going to have a local commercial bank. We're also going to have FSA and Farm Credit come and have a panel so you can kind of Q&A with that. So you can kind of get some background on what you need to do to farm with your bank and see how interest rates and all that go.
So it sounds like we have some really great stuff to look forward to in January. That's exciting. And I look forward to hearing more. I watch the website to see, like, as speakers and things are going to be announced, I'm always watching the website to see the agenda there. So I'm looking forward to learning some more. After you guys have, I don't know how old you are, I'm not asking that, but after you have aged out, quote unquote, of YF&R and are no longer in the planning, do you intend to stay involved with Kansas Farm Bureau?
Oh yeah, I think so. It does a lot for the state and the local communities, and all the work they do with the government to try and get policies passed that help farmers and everything. I think it does a really great job. Been on the board for a few years down here, and I hope to stay on that and continue that for a while yet. Maybe even do something at the state level again in the future. So on a different committee or something. So
yeah, that's great. I agree with you on the policy, like the lobbyist and policy type thing. It's important for that to happen, for we to have people in those roles, because like you guys and I don't have time to go to DC and lobby for farm and ag policies. So it's great that farm bureaus, you know, have that ability to do that. You mentioned getting more involved, like, again, at the state level. Do either of you have any intention or desire to get involved, like, at the national level, or even, you know, national YF&R at that point?
It's a little early for that.
We have two kids. I should have mentioned that. We have two, 14. Our oldest is 14 and our youngest is 12, Kaylin and Coy. So they are very big into 4-H, very big into showing. And so they take up a lot of time because when we're gone, they're normally staying home, feeding their animals, make sure the farm is still going great. But we would like to stay involved with Farm Bureau just so we can our kids are the next generation. We want them to keep farming as well, and they need someone looking out for them. And so I do feel like Farm Bureau is definitely out there to do that.
I'm imagining the 14 and the 12-year-old, and I'm not in that space yet because I have a 7 and a 3-year-old, but I'm like, I cannot imagine leaving my children in charge to feed animals.
So
I hope at some point that they're there, but right now I'm just like, I don't know that I can trust the 7-year-old to go out and make sure the calf is fed and not get distracted and leave the water running or something.
Yeah, it's definitely funny you say that, because obviously if we have a 14 and 12-year-old, we're on the higher end of the age gap for that YF&R, because we definitely have the oldest children. So some of the stuff that we tell them, be like, oh yeah, you know, Coy's out there. He was out there checking heifers one day whenever we were in Manhattan, and they're like, your kids are at home doing that? And they're like, oh yeah, our kids are super little.
That's all right. Like, different.
Yes.
levels, it takes all kinds of kinds. And so
Yes.
you guys are going to like have, you know, your quote unquote freedom in 6 or 7 years. So I'm a long way from that. So I'm still trying to get this last one potty trained. Good Lord. So
another reason why we decided to build a house now, whenever our kids are about to be out of the house.
It'll be it's your house. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, so we're wrapping up here. I appreciate all you guys have shared with us about the conference. I know that every time I talk to someone about the YF&R Leaders Conference, I get more excited about learning who's coming, and it just jazzes me up because like conference season is coming, right? And so if you will, give your sales pitch. This is your platform now. Give your sales pitch for someone to attend the Kansas Farm Bureau Young Farmers and Ranchers Leadership Conference. It's January 10th through 12th of this coming 2025 in Manhattan. Give us your sales pitch on why someone should attend.
We just want you to come up, and we're gonna have a pretty cool kickoff party Friday night, and we're hopefully gonna have it in the Shamrock Zone again, like it was last year. We got all kinds of clinics and tours going on. Just be a pretty good time. We're gonna have a couple speakers, and be a pretty good time, I hope. So come see us.
I think if you want to have a pretty fun weekend, you need to come on up to Manhattan. It'll be a great time. You'll get to meet a whole bunch of people that you'll want to talk to. So yeah, it'd be great.
Well, there you heard it. You heard it from Austin and Crystal Moore. They're in Woodson County. They're on the YF&R Planning Committee this year. And they want you to join us in Manhattan on January 10th through 12th, 2025 at the YF&R Leaders Conference. If you want to learn more about YF&R, learn more about the conference, find out what the agenda is, things like that, you can visit kfb.org/YFR and get all those details. Austin, Crystal, thank you so much for joining us and share your time. I know that you guys are super busy with farming and jobs and building a house and things like that. So thanks for sharing some time with us.
All right. Thank you.
Thank you.